Today I'm going to be talking about how to keep your RV or fifth wheel warm during the cold weather. So one of the best things that we did was we put this landscaping plastic around the outside of the trailer, and it doesn't look pretty, but you'll thank yourself whenever you're in there on a cold night. We didn't cover the very front part, just because we were kind of running out of time, and we didn't think that we'd be able to cover it in time for big snow that was coming. But anyways, this ended up working out fine, just covering around the back part here. And we went around the slides, so obviously you're not going to be able to put the slides in when you have this out. We used tape. I wasn't sure what tape would work, but this ended up working pretty well. It's called Frost King. It's just like an outdoor tape, I think, that they use for plastic around windows, and for the most part it held up. It sticks pretty well if you push it against the walls on the outside. Some places, like you could see here on the rubber part of the slide out, it doesn't stick too well. But overall, it sticks very well, and if it stops sticking because water gets back there, then you could just push it on, but haven't had to do that too much. We cut out a strip of about 4 feet and just taped that all along here, and then on areas where there are doors or something, then we didn't put the tape on it. And after it was already taped up on these areas, then I would go along and just cut that out and then put tape around there. Then we just found wood and put that around the outside. You can find whatever you have, gravel or rocks or anything like that, and just put that around the outside to hold it down. The other thing is you want to see your access points, and you want to put a slit in the plastic where those are. So right here we had a wastewater, the drain is right there, so we had to leave room and put a cut in the plastic there. And you don't want to put the seam, you don't want to cut the seam exactly right here. You want to have some overlap so the wind can't get through there or blow it open. So going around, same thing. This is an area that we needed to get to for the gray and black water, so there was a seam there. And then on the back where the plug is, I just didn't want to get snow and moisture in there, so I just put some extra plastic around. The plastic, like I said, it's just regular landscaping plastic. It doesn't have, any real R value, but it blocks the wind, which takes away a lot of the coldness when you're inside of the fifth wheel, and keeps the underbelly, covered up. Make sure where you have any heater vents, heater exhaust, anything like that, that you keep it, well away from there, so you don't end up melting the plastic. And of course, if you needed to use your awning or something, you don't want to have that part covered up. Another way to stay warm is to have lots of propane. If you're running a propane furnace, you'll go through a lot of propane. So even if you have, see, these are just gas grill propane tanks. So I just borrowed those from people that had gas grills and weren't using them during the winter, and filled those up as well. Here's our regular ones. They're the 30-pound ones instead of the gas grill 20-pound ones. And if you cover the tank up with a towel or something warm, insulated blanket, and also the regulator, you should cover that up with a towel too, or something warm, because if it gets really low, like we had one night where it got down to minus 20 degrees, we had problems with running even the propane. To keep your underbelly warm, you can use one of these little heaters. So we have a plug right here, so we just plug it in here. And just be careful, obviously when I'm running this, I don't have these boxes and everything close to that. You want to have some clearance, and you'll look on your heating unit to see what the clearance is, how many feet away you need things to run it. And certainly you want to make sure that you have a polar package or some way to heat your water underneath the underbelly. I didn't really show you here. That's why we have the RV antifreeze, because if it gets really cold there, you're just going to end up wasting a lot of propane just trying to keep the underbelly warm. So it might be cheaper for you just to spend the whatever $30 to get the antifreeze and just, you know, winterize it for those really cold spells, if you're going to have like a week or so that it's going to stay really cold and minus temperatures. So with the underbelly, yeah, you want to keep the propane on when you do have the water in the system. And you'll leave your heater, we would keep ours on around 55. And we found that that was a pretty good temperature to keep the furnace on, so that we would keep the underbelly heated. And our specific fifth wheel, it does have the furnace able to heat the underbelly and where the piping is for the water. So that was able to keep it warm enough above freezing, above 32 degrees. Another tip about keeping warm is to use these little pillow covers. So you just put these pillow cushions right up inside of the skylights, and that helps to keep the warmth inside. See, we have another one in here, another one here, and these have dual purpose, because in the summertime, if there's a lot of sunlight, this helps to keep the cool air in and, you know, block the sunlight out some. And I guess you can use it as another purpose as a pillow. If you want, you can, you know, cover them up and use them as a little pillow too on the couch. Okay, another tip is to cover the windows with plastic. So I'm not sure if you could see there, but we just put the plastic over here and then use the window or double-sided tape and put that plastic on. You can use a hair dryer to help, you know, seal it and push it around so that you get a good stick to it. They sell these plastic window kits. I found that they're much more expensive. The way that you can save money is just to buy a big roll of the plastic sheeting and cut them yourself, and then just get some kind of double-sided tape like that, you know, a big roll of it, and you'll save yourself a lot of money doing it that way. Another way to save on energy costs and to keep warm is to get weather stripping, foam weather stripping, and all around the slides. Whenever it's cold, if you put your hand around here, you'll often feel the cold air, especially like down in corners. So what I did, the one side's sticky, you just pull the one side of the tape off, and then you could just stick it all up around your slide and all of your slides. Now, you have to be careful to make sure that it's just sticking against your wall, and that the slide is not going to pull when you open and close your slide, that it's not going to get in the way of the slide opening and closing that function. So you just want to make sure that you have it against the wall and that it's not actually, you know, on the slide, so the mechanism will, you know, get caught up on that adhesive. And here's another tip. It's to use one of these oil-filled radiator looking heaters. We had those little small heaters that you saw underneath in the underbelly, but those tend to use around 16 amps. And these ones, they seem to produce the heat for longer and they use up less energy because I guess they heat up the oil and then that radiates around. So these, I think they take up around 12 amps, something like that I want to say, and you can adjust them. So you could do, you know, half, or you could do full power with them and go up and down. And just make sure, same thing, you want to have clearance all the way around it so that nothing gets burnt. And just be very careful touching this. Maybe you want to have an oven mitt or something when you want to move this around. So those are some tips on how to keep warm during the winter months or cold months in your RV. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to see my other videos as they come up, and have a nice day. Alright, before I close out this video, just wanted to go back over that rust spot that was at the bottom of my door that I showed you in the beginning of the video. And just take note of how the rust spot looks here and the color of it. And then I'm going to show you the next clip. And this is about a few minutes after I had applied the Seal. You could see the milky white residue is still on there from the Seal. And notice the color, how the rust has changed. It's actually converted that rust to a paintable surface. It stopped the rust and it's now converted to a hard metal substance that's ready to prime or just paint right over. And then finally, this last picture is after 24 hours and the Seal had dried. You could see a little of the white residue around there. After, it was pretty easy to clean off. I just used some soapy water and cleaned that off. But yeah, the surface was nice. It was converted to that dark black metal material. And then after that, I just spray painted over with the same blue, midnight blue color that what my truck was. And turned out really nice. I highly recommend that Seal. It made things really easy and simple for converting the rust and to help you rust proof your vehicle for the future.